Anatomy of frog. First, we'll discuss about digestive system. Digestive system of frog. Digestive system of frog starts with mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestine, ఈ బోర్డు ఎంత సార్ ఎంత రఫ్గా ఉంది ఇంటెస్టైన్ సరే ఎంత రఫ్గా ఉందేంటి సార్ ఈ బోర్డు రాస్తుంటే పళ్ళు జివ్వమంటుంది రఫ్గా ఉంది బోర్డు రాస్తుంటే పళ్ళు ఒకలాగా అయిపోతాయి కదా అసలు రాయలేకపోతున్నా చాలా టఫ్ ఉంది ఇది రఫ్ కొత్త బోర్డు సార్ రఫ్గా ఉంది అసలు ఎంత రఫ్గా ఉందంటే So this is the intestine. After intestine, this part is rectum, and finally this is cloacal aperture. That's all. Digestive system. Digestive system of frog is digestive system of frog has mouth, next esophagus, stomach, intestine, and this is rectum. The opening is called as cloacal aperture. Cloacal aperture is opening of cloacal apparatus also. In case of this frog, cloaca, rectum, and urine are coming out through the same opening. Cloaca means sound producing chambers. In frog, there are sound producing chambers, they are called cloaca. Digestive system opening, urine excretory system opening is same. This is called as cloacal aperture. Near the esophagus region, there are a pair of liver like this, pancreas are there, and there is one gallbladder. So liver secretes a juice which is called as bile juice. This is liver, pancreas, this is gallbladder. Liver produces bile juice and pancreas produces pancreatic juice. Gallbladder stores bile juice, stores bile juice temporarily. Once the liver produces bile juice, it is stored temporarily in the gallbladder. Afterwards, it is releasing into esophagus. Okay? So at mouth, food enters, it passes through esophagus, stomach, intestine, and it's stored temporarily. Undigested food is temporarily stored in rectum. After that, it is released out through cloacal aperture. Digestive juices that are required for the digestion are released by liver, which is called as bile juice, pancreatic juice that is released by pancreas. What is the difference between these two juices is bile juice helps in emulsification of fats. Emulsification of fats means if this is one fat molecule, it will be broken down into small molecules so that it is digested easily. This process is called emulsification of fats. Emulsification of fats. I'm rubbing this board now. This process of breaking down large fat molecule to small fat molecules is called emulsification. Emulsification of fats. After that, fats are digested by bile juice. Next, pancreatic juice digests carbohydrates and proteins. Carbohydrates and proteins are digested by pancreatic juice. In the inner layer of intestine, this is a intestine. Inner layer will have small folds like this. These folds are called as villi. Over the villi again there are small folds called as microvilli. Microvilli. So when you observe closely, this is one villus. On this there are small projections like this. They are called as microvilli. Like this. This is called as villi. This is called as microvilli. Singular villi, plural villus. What is the use? It increases surface area for absorption. Increases surface area for absorption. Your mother is folding the clothes and keeping in rack. What happens if she just crumble and keep inside? It occupies more space. This is also folding so that more amount of inner layer is present in less area. So that is about why this digestive system is so simple like this. Because this is a carnivore. Carnivore organisms have simple digestive system. You take herbivorous organisms. Herbivores have complex digestive system, like they have four chambers in their stomach. They are ruminating, so they bring back the food for digestion. It is complex. For omnivores, neither complex nor simple. It is in between, not very complex, not very simple. So this is a carnivorous organism. That is why stomach, intestine, rectum. That's all. Major parts. Okay. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestine, rectum, and cloacal aperture. That's all. Glands, pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to store that bile juice. That is very simple. Next one, respiration. Respiration in frogs. Respiratory system. In frog, when it is in water, when it is undergoing hibernation or estivation, respiration occurs through moist skin. Respiration occurs through moist skin. But when it is on land, it has it respires through skin also, it respires through lungs also, and there is a respiration in buccal cavity also. We have learned that there are nostrils above the mouth, so it breathes in through nostrils, breathe out through nostrils, exchange of gases occur at lungs. Skin respiration directly, what do you say, whatever gas is there, oxygen gets dissolved in the moisture above the skin. From there, it diffuses inside and waste. If this is the skin of frog, there are some gaps. Moisture is present over this. This moisture present over the skin of the frog absorbs oxygen first. From there, it is entering into the body. Carbon dioxide also from body it enters into this moisture. From there, it is going out by evaporation. Okay. Buccal cavity, the inner lining of mouth cavity, cells exchange gases similar to skin. From moisture, the oxygen enters into moisture, then into the body. Carbon dioxide dissolves in the moisture and it is outside the body. It happens like this. Okay. The respiration through skin is called as cutaneous respiration. Cutaneous respiration. Respiration through lungs is called as pulmonary respiration. Respiration through buccal cavity is called as buccopharyngeal respiration. Buccopharyngeal respiration. So these are the different ways by which frog respires. Next, coming to the next organ system, that is This is eyes bulged out. So this is the front part of frog. Here you can see the frog brain. It is like this. The frog brain consists of three parts. This is forebrain. This is midbrain. And this is hindbrain. Forebrain can be divided into two parts called cerebral hemispheres. Like in case of human beings, cerebral hemispheres. Our brain also can be divided into two parts. One this right side, one left side. Okay. And to the front portion, there are two small lobes connected called as olfactory lobes. Olfactory lobes are present to the forebrain. In midbrain, there are two optic lobes. In midbrain, there are two optic lobes which help in vision for seeing. The hindbrain is divided into cerebellum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. This part is called as from here to here. This total part is cerebellum. This part which is like a stem at the back of cerebrum is called as medulla oblongata. After that, sorry, this is not excretory system. This is nervous system. After that, there after the brainstem, spinal cord will start. But spinal cord enters into a small hole-like structure. So our brain is present in the brain cavity and there will be a hole-like structure. Here through this hole-like structure, this brainstem will enter. From here spinal cord will start. What is the name of that hole-like structure that is present here? Foramen magnum. Okay, this is an open cavity inside which inside the skull this brain is present. Afterwards here there is a hole. Through this hole the brain stem is entering and from here spinal cord is coming out. Spinal cord is distributed after the spinal cord extends to the back. It has nerves that are distributed. Nerves are divided into cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Nerves that arise from spinal cord are divided into cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Those which arise from neck region, below head, they arise. They are called as cranial nerves. This part, for us here the cranial nerves will arise. Okay, here the neck region, this region. In case of frog also just below the head region. So I have drawn this eyes here itself. This is total head region, here eyes will be there. This total head region, here eyes will be there. Okay. Spinal, total head, total brain is present in head. After that, eyes are present. So, spinal cord nerves, the nerves that arise from spinal cord, are called as spinal nerves. Okay. Among these nerves, these all nerves are called as peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system means it includes all nerves, only nerves. Central nervous system is brain and spinal cord because it is present in the center of the body. All the nerves that are arising from that are peripheral. You know what is periphery? Periphery means towards border. So towards border, what is arranged? Nervous systems, which part is arranged towards borders? Nerves are present. Towards centers, which part is present? Brain and spinal cord. So central nervous system means brain and nerve, spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system means all nerves. Okay. Among these nerves, there are some autonomous nerves which controls involuntary functions. Autonomous nervous nervous system include all nerves that carry involuntary functions. Involuntary functions. You know what is involuntary function? Those functions which are not under our control. They are not volunteered by us. They are controlled by our body. Such functions are called involuntary functions. Suppose take digestive system. Will you ask digestive system to start functioning or stop functioning? Will you ask kidneys to start functioning, stop functioning? They are all involuntary. All the nerves that are distributed to this type of parts are coming under autonomous nervous system. Okay. Again, autonomous nervous system is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Autonomous nervous system is divided into sympathetic, parasympathetic, sympathetic nerves and parasympathetic nerves. What is the difference? All the nerves that control emotions. What are controlling emotions? If you are getting angry, if you are getting emotion like fear, something like that, what changes your body will, what changes will take place in your body? You get goosebumps on your hair. Goosebumps means you know what is it. All the hair will stand erect. That is not under our control. It is an autonomous process and it is based on emotions. When you get excited or something, yeah, very good. Mehak is correct. All those which are under control of adrenaline gland, all the functions which are under control of adrenaline gland are sympathetic nerves. Our eyes, pupil will be there in that eyes, that will increase in size. You see in Cartoon Network, if someone is astonished, the eyes of that cartoon will become very much like round, it will become, or they are very small if they are in some tension or something like that. That pupil size will increase or decrease, blood vessel size will increase or decrease, we get sweat, our heartbeat will increase. All these are related to sympathetic nervous system. When we are not tension, whatever processes occur that are coming under sympathetic nervous system. When we are not in tension, our eyes will be normal size, our pupil size is normal, our heartbeat is normal, our blood flow is normal, no goosebumps. All these are related to parasympathetic nervous system, and also digestion relation process is also parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, when you are tensed, your digestive system is also upset. Did you observe any time? You'll have bloating, something like that. When you are not upset in rest stage, your digestive system is normal. Clear? That is about the nervous system. So brain of frog is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. After that there is foramen magnum, one hole is there. After that spinal cord will start. Hindbrain is divided into one region called cerebrum, which helps in body balance, and second region called medulla oblongata, which acts as a stem between spinal cord and cerebrum. Midbrain has optic lobes that help in our vision, how we see. And forebrain controls almost all the actions of the body. It is divided into two hemispheres. Like this, you can open two hemispheres will be there. Okay, front of them or optic lobes is there. What is the function of olfactory lobes? Sorry, olfactory lobes function. Their function is related to smell. Okay, the brain location of brain which coordinates vision is midbrain, smell is olfactory lobes, right? And the nerves that are arising from the body are coming under peripheral nervous system, and brain and spinal cord are coming under central nervous system. The nerves that arise from the body, if they are arising near the brain region, that is just below the head, they arise from this, usually from this brain stem. They are called cranial nerves. And spinal nerves arise from the spinal cord. Among all these nerves, there are some nerves which control the involuntary functions of the body. They are called as autonomous nerves. Among them, sympathetic nerves control all those emotional functions of our body. Parasympathetic nerves control the rest and digestive related process of our body. That is the nervous system. So next one, sense organs. The sense organs that are present in frog are all the five sense organs which are present in our body are also present in frog. It has touch sense, It has tongue for taste and nose that smell, eyes for vision, and one more, ear. Ear is not having the ear which is present outside, external ear is not present in case of frog. Internal ear is well developed. Internal ear is developed. Like in our ear also we'll study next coming classes about structure of ear, how it is developed. Same like that internal ear is well developed. And it has a tympanum. Tympanum. Eyes, eyes are bulged out, they are present in skull, sockets of skull. Present in sockets of skull. These eyes are also, it is a simple eye. We studied in, when we studied about cockroach, I said it has compound eyes. So many eyes are coming together to bring the vision of the cockroach. But in case of this organism, it is simple eye. Like our eye, it is only one unit. Only one unit is there, light enters through one point only. Nose is just a group of cells. That means inside the sense of smell is recognized by a group of cells, that's all. Cells that are present inside the nose. Tongue also have a group of cells for taste. Group of cells for taste. Taste. They are called taste papillae. Taste papillae. And for touch, there are touch papillae in the skin. These are also a group of receptor cells. A group of cells that sense this touch. So these three are less developed, these three are well developed. They are less developed. These two are well developed in the what do you say, sense organs. And next, last one is reproductive system. Reproductive system is also very simple. Okay, last. Reproductive system is different in male, different in female. So it shows sexual dimorphism, I said you. So it is different in male and female. In case of male, these are the pair of kidneys. Above kidneys, there is a pair of testes. Testes and kidneys are connected by fold of a membrane fold is there in between, which is called as mesorchium. Mesorchium is a folded layer that connects testis with kidneys. Okay. Above this testis, there is a fat bodies are hanging like this. These are fat bodies. And between these kidneys and testis, there are so many tube-like structures connected. These tube-like structures which are connecting kidneys with testis, these are called as vas deferens. Vas deferens. Sorry, vas efferentia. Vas efferentia is a structure that is connecting this kidneys. That means whatever is secreted by kidneys that enters into vas efferentia, then it enters into canal-like structures that are present in kidneys. Kidneys have canal-like structures like this. This is one canal, this is one canal, this is one canal. Those canals are called as Beider's canals. Beider's canals. So all the fluid will be draining into this Biders canals. Okay. After that, I said you this is the common duct, urinogenital duct, that opens into this structure which is called as cloaca. This is urinogenital duct, which is a duct which excretes urine also. It excretes the sperms that are secreted, male gametes that are secreted by testis. Okay. This pair of testis, this is testis. This is male reproductive organ. Male reproductive organ. This male reproductive organ produces male gamete. What is male gamete? Male gamete is sperm. This sperm enters from testis, they enter into kidneys, Biders canals through vas deferentia. Vas efferentia carries it to Biders canals. From Biders canals, it enters into urinogenital duct. From there into cloaca, and it goes out of body through cloacal aperture. Okay. In case of frogs, the fertilization is external. You know what is external fertilization? Fertilization that occurs out of the body. External fertilization means fertilization that occur out of the body. First, a female organism lays eggs in large quantities, something around 4,000, 2,000 to 4,000 eggs it will lay. After that, the male organism will release the sperm over the eggs and fertilization takes place outside the body. In case of frogs, in aquatic organisms, it lays eggs in water only. Female lays eggs in water only. Male lays sperms over that water, over that eggs in the water only, and fertilization occurs inside the water only. So next, in case of female, it is slightly different. Female reproductive system is slightly different. Okay, kidneys are having the fat bodies like this, which move freely. And here the ovary is present. There is no shape, different shape. Simply shapeless ovary is present. And the oviduct is present here, like this. Or it goes behind. It's not connected to ovary in any way. It goes back like that. Behind the ovary, it goes back. It's not connected to ovary, but it's going behind and it is coming. And it opens into cloaca. Whether it is a male or female, opening is in the cloaca only. So, what are the parts? The parts of this female reproductive system is ovary. Ovary is a reproductive organ. Ovary is a reproductive organ. What is it producing? Produces female gametes. Produces female gametes. What are female gametes? Ovum. Ova singular, ovum plural. After it is produced, where is it going? This is called as oviduct. Oviduct has a funnel-like structure in the beginning. This funnel-like structure receives the sperms, receives the ovum, and this ovum will transfer into this oviduct, enters into cloaca. And finally, it is excreted out of the body. How many? 2,500 to 3,000 eggs or ova are laid by female. And when the baby is born, initially it looks like a fish and it has tail for swimming, It has gills. Gills are present on either side for breathing. This structure is called as tadpole. Tadpole undergoes so many changes, like this tail will reduce, the tail will reduce, and it slowly forms leg-like structures. Finally, it develops to form a frog. Finally, it develops to form a frog. This changing is called as metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means morphological features, external features of tadpole are changing to form frog. So there is a change. Meta means transition. Meta means transition. Transition in morphological features, external features. So it is called as metamorphosis. External features of this organism are changing. Tadpole is changing to turn into an adult frog. That is why this process is called as metamorphosis. Yes, transition is external. In external features, transition is occurring. That is why it is called as metamorphosis. Right. What else? Frogs are very beneficial organisms because they are very important part of food chain. Whenever we are asked to write food chain, the first thing that comes to mind is insects eat frog, frog eats snake. So that is a major part of food chain. So it helps in ecological balance. Since it is a major part of food chain, it helps in ecological balance. First thing. Second, since it is eating a lot of insects, it is a very good farmer's friend. Whatever insects that are causing damage to crops, fields, those insects or those pests are eaten by frog and protect the crop fields. So they are very good friends to farmers also. They are helpful for ecological balance also. With this, we have completed the ecology anatomy of frog.